Hey everyone, it's Lauren. So for today's video, we are going to be focusing on the new Westman Atelier Lip Suede Les Nudes. I'm particularly excited about this video because I really loved their Les Rouges palette that they put out a while back. That's like kind of one of my go-to red lip palettes, and for like a bright fuchsia, I absolutely love it. So when they launched this nude lip palette, I was very excited because I was like, oh yay, like a new product from them finally. And then I saw the pan and I panicked a little bit, and not in a good way. I kind of panicked because colors like this that are like concealer colored like make me panic as a pale girl. I don't like how those kind of colors look on my lips normally. So I was like, oh God, like I don't know what to expect with this. So of course they launch it and I'm like, click, add to cart. And so I received it. And yeah, let's talk about it a little bit. So this formula is a bit different than the red palette. This nude palette is more sheer, where the reds are much more opaque. And while they look the same, you know, opacity in the pan, they apply quite differently. So with this nudes palette, I'm gonna swatch it out on my arm. There's this warm rose shade up here. Really beautiful. And then there's this peony shade. Ooh, it'd be helpful if I actually showed you, right? And then there's this, I think they call it Cafe Cream. And then the final shade is like this mulberry. Okay, so as you can see, let my light adjust. They are nudes and they are much more sheer than the red palette. Let me swatch these out for you, and that way you can kind of get a comparison. So I'm gonna do this kind of like mauve shade, much more pigmented, much more opaque. Like I'm barely having to dip in there, and it's much more opaque than the new nudes palette. Okay, so very, very different. But that's not the only differences. One of the biggest things that I noticed right away is that the texture of the new nudes palette is much more balmy, whereas the Les Rouges palette is much more matte, and it sets down much quicker. I'm gonna wipe this off of my arm. So yeah, as you can see, they're very, very different in their opacity when you initially swipe. You get a lot more pigment payoff, not just in terms of vibrancy, but the actual pigments are very, very strong on the skin and opaque. Whereas the new Les Nude palette is much more sheer and soft. So I posted a little like teaser of me with this on my Instagram, and someone had commented like asking like what I thought of it, and I said I'm going to do a review. Someone else chimed in and said my lips are somewhat pigmented and I don't feel like this shows up on them. And I can completely understand that. Like I think that's a completely valid thing to say, because there's not a very strong white base behind these shades. They're very sheer. There's not a lot of titanium dioxide. In fact, that's the last ingredient. And sometimes I feel like nude lip colors can look kind of chalky. Like personally, I don't like nude lip colors because I feel like they wash me out a lot of times, but there's also that white base behind it that kind of cancels out your lip color even more. And I don't like that. And oftentimes what happens with that too is like right here where your lips touch, you'll end up with like that like hard line of demarcation where you see like the pink on the inside of your lips, and then it's like really pale on the outside of your lips. Same thing happens with red lipstick, and it also drives me crazy then too a lot of times. But I actually really like this palette, and I like it because of the way that these colors settle with my own lip color. I often just don't like nude lips because they end up all weird and chalky and dry and crusty and just like not flattering. And this is like surprisingly flattering. So let me show you a couple different ways that I've like been playing with this that I really like. So you can definitely wear each pan individually, or you can mix them together and really kind of customize it, which is something that I love so much about the red palette. So I'm going to actually show you what each of these looks like on my lips by itself. I'm going to start with this like cafe cream color. And this in particular, I would say by itself is probably my least favorite shade on me. And it's not even bad. It's just, it kind of just cancels my lips a little bit. But I think if you have more pigmented lips, you might actually really like starting with that and then layering on top of it. That on its own is not a bad color. I actually think that's really great when you want to do a really strong eye look. Personally, I like this shade more with a lip liner. I really like my Thrive Khaki lip liner underneath this one. Let me take this off and show you. We'll go with Peony, which is the kind of a pinky shade here. And you'll notice I'm just using my fingers for this application because I don't really think that you don't have to have a really precise lip brush with this. They are more balmy in texture, and so I think you can kind of apply them more like a lip balm. All right, there's Peony. I think that's a much more flattering color on me than I think it's Cafe Cream. Now I'm going to do this warm rose color. I'm kind of going from lightest to deepest. They feel so nice on the lips. Like I actually just really love how this feels. Warm rose. We'll do that last shade, which is the mulberry up here. Okay, so that's all 4 shades without any lip liner, just applying with my fingers so you can get an idea of colors. They're very, very soft. They're sheer. They're balmier in texture than the original palette. Let me show you now how I've been enjoying these. I think they're beautiful on their own. I think they're great if you are like myself and you have some trepidation with nude palettes. But I feel like this might be my favorite nude lip colors on myself, and I'll show you why. So normally when I wear any kind of lip product in general these days, I wear lip liner with it. So let me start with that. This just, it's a very natural looking color on me underneath other lipsticks. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to take a mixture of these 2 center colors, the 2 lightest with the Peony and the Cafe Cream. And I'm just gonna take my brush and kind of swatch right down the middle. This is also a really great way to keep your pans from building up where the shades meet. Just mix them together. So I like this. You get that lightness from the Cafe Cream and then a little bit of rosiness from Peony, which is something that I feel like I kind of need with a nude to not look dead when I wear them. They are so comfortable. All right, so here's a nude lip for me, which is a big step because I don't normally like nude lips on me, but I actually really like how this looks. The other thing I like to do is take either the warm rose or mulberry. I'm gonna use the shade mulberry, kind of mulberry mixed with the Cafe Cream here, and use it on the outer edges of my lips. Because it kind of adds to that like pouty effect. All right. And then I also purchased another one of the Squeaky Clean lip glosses. I got the shade Choo Choo, which is like a very, very pale baby pink, which is completely different than the bright red Pipsqueak that I got. And I'll just dot this over top. And just like that, it is probably my favorite pale nude lip color I've ever worn. And that's a big statement, I know, but I just don't like a lot of really, really ghosted out colors on me. I just think that they look a little too washed out with how fair I am. I love this combination so much. And I actually think too that having this underneath their gloss balm, it helps to extend the wear a little bit. Because I remember in my initial review, I kind of said, like, I just feel like these just don't last that long on your lips. I mean, I can still feel them a while after applying them. Like, that's not the problem. But the glossiness kind of disappears quickly. But I feel like it lasts quite a bit longer when you have something on underneath it and it's not just sitting directly on your lips and almost like absorbing in. This acts kind of like a buffer in a way. And I love how it looks. So here's like my final takeaway. I really, really like this. I think that if you have more pigmented lips, because of how sheer it is, if you're looking for something that's going to completely cancel out your lip color, I don't think it's going to do that for you. And in fact, I know that because people have said that it doesn't. Personally, if you are someone like myself, your lips don't have a ton of natural color, but you want to enhance them a little bit or like slightly tone down their natural color, I think you might really love this. I personally always struggle with nude lips and I really, really love this. Of course, it's like the most expensive thing on the market, right? Obviously, you can find nude lip colors that are not going to be as expensive as this, but from the standpoint of reviewing it, do I like this or what? I really, really enjoy this. And it's totally like splurgy and I love it. I don't know. It's different than their other one. I think it's kind of interesting that they stuck with the lip suede theme. I guess they did because it's in the same type of pan, but the formulas are very different. The color payoff is very different. Kind of the balminess versus being more matte. They're very different. They look similar, but they are not the same. But I personally, I really, really love it. I don't know. Don't get mad at me. I know it's expensive. I know it's like kind of ridiculous. I know some of you are probably hoping that I would come on here and say like, it sucks, I hate it, but I don't. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope that it's been informative. And if you have any questions about it, drop them below. I'd love to know if you're going to be trying this yourself. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe. That helps other people find my channel and I can continue making this type of content for you. I'll see you next time. Bye.